Talofa Faithful, how is everybody? My door just randomly opened like that. Talofa Faithful, how is everybody doing? Welcome to the NinerFaithful Radio Week in Review Show. We talk about what's going on with your San Francisco 49ers that's gone on through the week. Let me pull up some stuff here. Overlay. There we go. Let's go ahead and just show it. Yep. Yeah. Show it. There it is. Something like that. Yeah. I like the way it looks. Anyways, welcome. Like I said, so we're going to be going there. We have our drink. I've got something I've never tried before. It's actually pretty good. We'll talk about that with a second. No clue where TJ is right now. So, but anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to hit the actual intro stuff, and then we will get this show started proper.
Super Bowl record with 12 catches. He's in motion. Montana. Touchdown. John Taylor.
NinerFaithful Radio, the show hosted for the faithful, by the faithful, brought to you by Power Brand Systems.
Like I said, welcome to the actual show itself as we get into everything here. I'm actually going to put the chat up right now because I can't see a damn thing with if anybody says anything. So right now, yes. So this week, I actually have something to drink. I am drinking on this Simply Spiked Limeade. I'm a Limeade fan, and this shit is fucking delicious. Let me tell you what, I was quite surprised at actually how good this is. So, everybody, we made it through the week. Cheers. Let's drink to it. Just drink it to that Cowboys beating the Cowboys. Ooh. Definitely nice and tart. I've always liked a good lime type of drink, so it's definitely a good one. Well, like I said, not sure what TJ is up to, so we're just going to go ahead and get into this. So let's see how this works out with the chat and everything like that. So obviously, we are going up against the Dallas Cowboys, and as the thing says, fuck Dallas, because that is the way things go around with everything. Well, look who decided to show up.
Dude, this fucking mouse, bro. Like, it fucking... Yeah. It has a mind
Christine, thank you for showing up.
I swear to God, this shit has a mind of its own. Like, I'm clicking on shit, and it's, like, moving, like, minimizing windows and shit.
You should either check your batteries if it's wireless or make sure that the porn you're watching has not gotten into your computer somehow. It's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, no.
Your shit's doing that. That's about the only reasons I can think of why it's being crazy like that.
Probably, most likely, the batteries, because I don't watch porn on this computer. I do it on my laptop. But
what's up, Miss Veronica?
What's cracking, everybody? Yeah, no, sorry, it took me a sec, bro. Shit was crazy. I was like, bro, am I gonna have to tell this nigga, like, bro, I don't know how to work my mouse.
Get some batteries, man.
Fucking A. Bubby keeps on taking all of them.
Or just get a wired. There's always that
no,
option.
we do have a wireless. We do have a wireless. She said that she's gonna get, because the other day she was like, I think it came from one of the times that I must have
spilled, my brother.
I must have spilled something or something like that, because the other day Bubby was using the mouse. I was outside having a cigarette and I just heard this and like I came into the office. I was like, babe, what the hell's going on? She goes, dude, that's the mouse. I was like, what the hell? She goes, yeah. She goes, you must have spilled something on it one of the times you spilled your drinks or something. And I was like, yeah, probably checks out.
So what's funny, it's not about a mouse, but so when I was the fleet manager for the railroad up here, they called me fucking 2:00 in the goddamn morning. I'm dead asleep. Like, I can't get this vehicle out of park. Someone was picking up their vehicle to get ready to go out and pick up some of the engineers and shit. And so they're calling me. They're like, oh, there's a vehicle here. and we can't get it out of park and everything like that. I'm like, what the fuck? So I go up there, and I'm in there, and I cannot unjam it. I'm like, what the fuck? And it's just a little shift select that's on here. You're just nothing. I'm like, fuck, pushing the button, slamming it. I'm like, fuck, it won't go. So I get this damn thing fucking towed middle of the fucking night over to fucking the Firestone. Firestone calls me at like 7 o'clock in the morning. They're like, hey, what's up with this thing? So I tell them. They're like, all right, we'll get to work on it real quick. They call me back about 40 minutes later. They're like, hey, man, the vehicle's ready. And I'm like, well, what was wrong with it? They're like, man, you're not going to want, you're going to hate this because it's going to cost you a lot of money for what it was. And I was like, fuck. What did these jackasses do? They're like, well, someone spilled what looks like a ton of fucking soda in here, and all the sugar had gone around the gear select, but it was underneath where you couldn't see it. Oh. So all that sugar has solidified. So there was so much like you couldn't move the gear because of how it was. And they're like, yeah, man, you're paying like $300 and all we do is pour hot water on it.
Oh, that's gotta be the worst.
I'm just like, so my bosses see them, they're like, what is this $300 for a gear? I told them, they're like, are you fucking serious? I'm like, look, man, how the fuck was I supposed to know that it was just hot water? This needed to
let me pour hot water around my gear shift, bro.
I'm like, I was in there, like I'm moving as hard as I can without actually trying to break it. You know what I mean? It's a fine balance you got to move. I'm like, look, I could not move it myself. Like, why did you pour hot water? Like, how the fuck was I supposed to know? I'm not tearing apart half the middle of this damn vehicle, at 2 o'clock in the morning to find out that it's just coated in sugar that's hardened up. But yeah, so
yeah, and I mean,
talking about your mouse, and that's just it triggered that memory that I had from years ago.
Yeah, no, it's like at that point, bro, what are you supposed to do? Cause like, I mean, if you called me up, the last thing I would have said is, yeah, Jason, just go ahead and pour fucking hot water down it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Fucking still can't figure out Instagram, bro. This shit keeps holding. Okay, I'm gonna try it one more time, and if it doesn't work, then we're just not gonna be fucking broadcasting on Instagram. Oh my god. Anyway, we got a new sound that I'm debating on whether I'm gonna play it or not. But we do
new sound for
I think I might play it Tuesday. I don't want to talk too much shit and then you know what I'm saying, have to fucking come back and eat fucking crow.
That's fair. All right, so let's get into it. So your overall quick thoughts on the Cowboys right now.
Fuck the Cry Girls. I mean, that
the shirt says it all right over there.
The shirt says it all. If it was possible for me to love George Kittle more, I would have loved him after wearing that T-shirt last year. But it's not possible for me to love him more.
He gets it, doesn't he? It's a fan thing. Like these guys, they're here, they're gone. This is not their rivalry. This is our rivalry. You know what I mean? But George gets it. George is like, no, the fans need this shit.
And see, what I love about it is it's why, one of the many things I've hoped and prayed for is for, George Kittle to be a lifelong Niner. And that's why, because he shouted out Gary Plummer. He said, hey, this is the reason I did it. I'm bringing it back to the rivalry and everything.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think it'll be ever what it was in the see, everybody talks about the 80s. Really, I want to say we only played them once in the playoffs in the 80s, which was probably the biggest game between the two franchises, or at least on our side. The biggest game that, so really it's the 70s and 90s where you talk about, the big rivalry and all that. So, it probably won't ever be like that. Teams aren't built to last that long throughout pretty much a whole decade. When you consider it was pretty much the same core that was going at it in the 90s and the 70s.
Yep.
But the reason I love it is I feel like sometimes, because players bounce around so much and you rarely have career long, players who play on one franchise and everything like that. people seem to overlook, especially our history, because it happened so long ago. I mean, let's be real. When was George Kittle even born when Gary Plummer took that that picture? I doubt he might have even been born. You know what I'm saying? That was 94. So,
Yeah, let's see. What year was George Kittle born? Actually, he was 1. He was born in 93.
Okay. So George Kittle was 1 year old. Like, he a lot of basically the point I'm getting to is no players on the rivalries remember these games. Shit, bruh. I barely remember that game. Any of the 94 games and everything like that. Probably if I sat back and dipped my head, probably the first game I remember Niners Cry Girls, like remember was a TO going to the Star game.
Star.
Probably the first one where it's like, I remember watching that. One of the kids in the group home was grounded and couldn't watch TV, but he was sitting in the living room being a cock block. So I had to literally take a blanket and tells you how old I am. We had a VCR on top of the TV. So I put the VCR on top of the blanket so I could have like a little fort and everything. I was literally sitting with basically underneath a blanket watching this game and everything like that. It's probably the first Niner Cry Girl memory I have. But yeah, I think it's something that's just bred into us when you first put on that, that red SF hat, the hatred of that team automatically comes with it.
Yeah, and then depending on who you are and where you are, like for me, I realized that the rival of this team is the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I get that's, you know what I mean, in the grand scheme of things. But for me personally, obviously, I live in the Seattle area. We're in the same division. We play them twice a year. To me, for me, the Seattle one's a bigger rivalry. But I also understand the history. The history is fuck the Cowboys. But that doesn't change how I feel about, obviously with the Seahawks and being up here, blah, blah, blah. That's just a different thing. So depending on when you became a fan, it might actually be the Seahawks for a lot of people for who the actual rivalry is.
I mean, truthfully, if you want to know just off of my personal feelings, and obviously my cousin's a Cry Girls fan. So it wasn't so much like, oh, they beat the Niners, 2 times in the 90s that I don't even remember. It was, having to hear that nigga's mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you put a gun to my head and asked 13-year-old, 14-year-old TJ who the team he hated the worst was, it's actually the Whackers, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Growing up mostly in the late 90s, early 2000s and everything like that. Yeah. Bro, I hated the Whackers. Obviously the Sheekhawks, the Yams, traditional rivals and everything like that. But I love it just because for a second, when I see those teams on the field, and obviously it won't be quite the same with be at Levi's versus Candlestick, but it just takes me back to sitting in the living room watching, Niner football with my grandpa when I was a kid. Just something about seeing those two teams, those jerseys, those helmets, everything about those two teams. It's like pure football, bro. You know what I'm saying? It brings me back to why I fell in love with the game almost.
Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing we got this week is the transactions. Obviously, the first one that we have on there is that we placed BA on the injured reserve. We'll see him sometime next season, probably towards the end of next season.
He's not coming back training camp or
no. I mean, at the most, he might start jogging at training camp, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
maybe if everything goes according to plan.
Because he's starting the year on the PUP list next year.
Oh, for sure. This is the injury. Well, the injuries he sustained, because obviously, there's going to be some other, there's going to be ACL, and whatever else that he might have tore in there. This is one that's going to affect him. This is one of those injuries that affects you for life, just everyday person kind of thing. Yeah. And he's not going to be the same football player. Most people aren't when they come back from this type of an injury.
Yeah, that's a little concerning, bro. When you're talking about what does a wide receiver do, especially Brandon Ayuk, his elite cutting, route running ability, and everything like that. This is this is not just we'll see you next year, BA. This has some serious ramifications.
Yeah.
I bet you if anything comes out of this situation, I bet you he's so happy he decided to sign the contract when he did, and the Niners,
Good for him. This
didn't.
is why these guys hold out for these
Yep.
contracts.
I was gonna say, look, like we could talk about, the holdouts affecting the team and all that. We'll talk about at the end of the year when we know where this season goes. But anybody who wonders why they hold out and everything, this is the exact reason why. Because this easily could have happened in practice. Maybe not the severity of it or anything like that. Because let's be real, that's the only type of hit you're going to take in the game.
Yeah.
But bro, I've seen Jerick McKinnon tear his knee the week before the season started on a non-contract drill. You know what I'm saying?
Who was the quarterback for the Vikings? That he almost died on the practice field from an injury. Oh fuck! God, I want to say it was like 10 years ago. He did something to his knee, but then the knee it stopped the blood flow. Let's see.
Thomas, I always forget his last name, but the dude who died in the locker room during the Lord's Prayer in Denver. Thomas Harrison, I believe his name was.
Let's see. Oh, fuck. Let's see. Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, he separated his knee and then it was pinching a vein or something like that, and so they were actually scared he was going to die or lose his leg because of the amount of I just remember it was seriously fucked up. So I remember these guys they need their money.
I forget who the player was, but he got punctured in the lung with a Novocaine shot. Basically, we're gonna shoot him up so he can play.
Yeah. I do remember
Niner, and he ended up the only reason they found out is he said he tasted like gasoline or something, right? And he plays the whole game, everything. After the game, he said something. They checked him out, rushed him to the hospital. He almost died. So, it's so rare to actually have somebody die in football.
DeMar Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin, basically. But it's definitely where I think the most mortalities happen with football is, are people going to say Dwight Clark died from playing football?
It's the injuries up here.
Yeah, exactly. Are people going to say Dwight Clark died from playing football? No. But how the fuck do you think he got ALS, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Junior Seau, he didn't go crazy because, you know what I mean? He went crazy, stuff like that. I mean,
you cannot tell me the fact that he purposely shot himself in the throat and not his head because he knew he wanted his brain to be studied because he knew he had, concussions and everything he
had issues
So is that a death from football? No, because it didn't happen on the field. But did football kill Junior Seau? Yes.
Yep. Which terrifies me that Tua has been cleared and is going to play Sunday.
Sorry. Are you serious?
Yep. I'm not necessarily terrified for what's going to happen with Tua now. I'm terrified of what's going to happen to Tua exactly in 15, 20 years. Talk to me. Let me talk to that Tua, and we'll see what kind of a person he is. Not to say that he's not a good person, and that just
comes from a good family.
Great family.
Yeah. And everything like that. But yeah, that's one of my biggest fears in life. One of the biggest fears in life I have is to be suffering consequences from a decision that I made earlier that I can't do nothing about, i.e. walking around with an oxygen tank because I decided to smoke a pack and a half of cigarettes for 40 years. And I'm in my 60s thinking, damn, if I could only go back to when I was 14,
Look, I've had 7 concussions. I've already told my wife, look, if it ever comes to that, pull the trigger on me. if I come at you from stats point of view because I've just lost my brain, pull the trigger. Because at that point, you don't know what's going on with your brain. So I've already told her, just do it. I got nothing against you if you do it. Save yourself.
Yeah. I didn't, my dad has Parkinson's, and, some of that's probably alcohol or drug related, but me and Bubby talked about,
What's good, Mr. McNiner?
what's good, McNiner? I got it, bro. If it'll play. There we go.
Same old sorry ass man. So long.
What I really hated is it always takes the level of the audio down. So I have to play it, turn it up, and hope that I do that in enough time we can hear it all. But what's cracking, David? But my girl and I have talked many times that, I was like, look, concussions just don't happen in pro football. You know what I'm saying? Concussions happen in Pee-wee football.
Yep,
I said, my dad played Pee-wee football and baseball. He basically played football and baseball all the way up to college, and then only played football. And I said, my dad played in the SEC. My dad played for Florida. You feel me? I was like, my dad played big boy college football. And I was like, and he was playing football in the late 70s, early 80s when they would just
didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, where they just rub a smelling salt, pat you on your butt until you get back out there.
What's the saying? Are you injured or you hurt?
Are you injured or you hurt? You can't play injured, but you can play hurt. You have to. You can't play injured, but you have to play hurt. So I've always questioned that of whether some football related stuff has to do with somewhat of my dad's Parkinson's diagnosis.
Oh, I'm sure. All right, so let's move on from BA. I mean, I don't mean to cut everything short with that, but I mean, there's only so much we can say. Let's just say, get better, BA. Hope the surgery and everything goes well for you, and we'll talk to you next season, brother.
Yep.
The one I am so excited about, defensive lineman Evan Anderson signed to the active roster. We're about 2-3 weeks late. I think it's been me and John Chapman leading the charge for getting this young kid on the 53-man roster. Not to mention that we have Kalia Davis, obviously with the pick, with the pass block and the pick. I want to see a lot of those two young men playing this Sunday. That next year, that is what I want to be our starting defensive line. If you told me Evan Anderson and Kalia Davis have worked their way into being the starting defensive tackles for this team, I would be more than happy. Obviously, you can add in some Sam O there. Keep some Leonard Floyd, Bosa, obviously. But if that is your two starting defensive tackles next year, completely happy with that. We also signed,
or at least the top of the rotation.
Yeah,
at least top of the. I have a feeling we're going to go to more of a rotation.
Yeah.
Hey, these are our starters type of situation next year. But yeah.
Then we also signed offensive lineman Dieter Ellison, and obviously to fill the BA void, wide receiver Malika Turner back to the Evan roster. Where at this point, Malik Turner's like, hey, man, don't go too far. He's becoming a very Dante Johnson-ish player.
Definitely.
And then obviously yesterday we signed defensive lineman Nesta Jade, and then released defensive lineman Jonathan Garvin from the practice squad.
I didn't listen to when we go through the injuries. It's going to be news to me. I didn't get a chance to listen to Kyle's presser today.
No, I didn't get a chance to either. But so I mean, I've always think it's interesting how when you sign a player and then release a player from the same position, it's like, well, what was wrong with the guy that was already there?
And especially knowing that it's just going to flop back in a couple weeks.
Yeah, if not, it's just, do we have a better chance? I don't get it. So, all right, so let's go into the injuries for this week. So out for the Dallas Cowboys is cornerback Darren Bland, Micah Parsons, obviously.
Yes.
Not that we don't shut him down and shut his mouth every time we play him one way or the other. You know what I mean? Defensive tackle Jordan Phillips, and then their tight end John Steffens, who had a pretty big injury from what I understand in practice. Questionable, they got Kalen Carson, Eric Kendricks, and Nick Aviju. Obviously, one guy on this list you might remember from our draft stuff. He's a full participation. Maurice Liufau.
Hmm.
He was one of the big linebackers that I was
Yeah.
pushing really hard for, coming out of Notre Dame. Really good coverage guy. I thought that could be the replacement for
Great.
Greenlaw. I would have loved to see what he could do right now. And then obviously Eric Kendricks, another guy who might have been able to fill that Dre Greenlaw role, also questionable for this. Excuse me. For them. All right, and then for our 49ers, we got Kevin Givens, Juwan Jennings, and Jake Moody, who are out. For questionable, we got George, Demo, George Odom, and then Debo. Demo, we got two Georges, a Demo, and a Debo. Everybody's rhyming.
Say that 5 times fast.
Let's see. George Dio, George Debo. George. I'm not going to do that. So obviously, with this, with Juwan Jennings come out, I want to see a lot of our 2 rookie wide receivers.
We're going to.
But I'm saying So here's a good question. Me and Anshel were talking about yesterday in our show. Who are we going to see more? Jacob Cowing or Ricky Pearsall?
You're going to see Ricky Pearsall more.
I think so.
Yeah.
Even though Cowie's already been working in there and everything like that.
Yeah, but how much of a role has he had so far? Yeah, he's essentially been. Well, I don't think he's missed a game as far as health is concerned yet. I could be wrong about that, but I feel that because you're going to give it to the first round pick, it'd be different if. And look, I'm excited about Jacob Cowling just off the simple fact that I think that there's some things there. I don't think he'll ever be a starter or anything like that, but I could see him definitely being a solid 3 or 4 in the future. And the speed definitely gives us a different element, that Debo or BA or Ricky Pearsall don't give us. But it'd be different because the number one thing, I shouldn't say happy for the injury, especially considering what the injury was. But the person who I thought should have took advantage the most of Ricky Pearsall being out was Jacob Cowling. Yeah. And I look excited about the future. I think that, he might have a role, with this team going forward, but nothing that I say, keep my number 1 pick off the field that we haven't even seen. And I know where there's some miscommunications, like he didn't turn his head fast on the routes, but out of what I saw yesterday and the little bit of highlights and stuff I saw, he was open. Ricky was getting open. Yeah. So the things that you heard in training camp, which is, hey, that he can get open, he can beat man coverage, seem to be taken fruition. Now, fine, I don't expect it to be
Go ahead, finish
I don't expect it to be a finished polish. Literally, still less than 2 months away from when the man got shot in his chest. But I would say, gun to my head, Ricky Pearsall.
Speaking of Ricky, have you seen Ricky's girl?
Nah, I haven't.
Dude, let me tell you something, dude. She is smoking hot.
I see it. I can see it.
Dude,
I can see it.
She was a Florida cheerleader, obviously. She's from Florida. Mixed girl, she's just, like I saw and I was like,
oh yeah, okay, yeah, I did see her. She's the one that Ricky was hugging on in his draft reaction video.
Yeah.
She was the black girl that was in
yeah.
Okay.
She is smoking hot, dude. Like I was like, damn, Ricky.
Yeah, she's bad, bro. Like,
yeah,
telling you, light-skinned females, bro. Whew. They get you, boy.
But so even without BA, so say BA was never part of this team for right now, and our wide receivers were simply Debo, Juwan, Ricky, Cowing,
Chris Conley,
Ricky, Ron. I'm trying to avoid saying Ronnie Bell's name. I mean, is that still a damn good wide receiving core? Even like I said, take Debo. Debo was never drafted by this team. That's still a good wide receiver core, ain't it though?
Yeah,
How is it,
like,
Miss
okay.
Teresa?
What's up, Miss Teresa? How you doing? So when you tell me, see, I say this. What's up, John? My bad. I didn't even see that comment. I will say this. You add George Kittle to that,
This one.
right? Paging Jake Tungus, I thought he would have more of an impact, this season. To me, where I think that becomes an acceptable receiving core is if you get CMC back.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about just those guys right there. Take the top, like I said, add in those 6. That's still a pretty damn good receiving core. I mean, depth, like I said, obviously, it would be interesting to see what we have with Juwan being like an actual number 2, which we're going to see now.
That's
Like, I'm really curious to see what happens or see how he steps up being the actual number 2 now. But I mean, like I said, you fill it in with Pearsall, Cowing, Conley, Ronnie Bell. Like I said, George Kittle. You can even throw George Kittle in there. Maybe even some Eric Saubert.
That's what I meant. My bad. I meant Eric Saubert.
I have no issue. That's still a very, very talented wide receiver room.
Yeah, I'm just, and I don't know why I'm so hesitant, because it wasn't like BA was giving us much.
No,
maybe
one good game.
Maybe it was because we just always felt like, okay, this is the week, and then we had lightweight seen it against the Seahawks, we had lightweight seen it against the Patriots, or I'm sorry, the Cardinals. That's where we kind of started to feel that, okay, we're going to start getting in the rhythm. And unfortunately, we'll never know, but we feel a lot different than the at least the first half the BA has if he doesn't drop that ball.
Oh yeah, that was
going for a big gainer. I don't know. I've had people say that was 6. I don't know if that was quite 6, but that was like a first down, continue the drive. And
it was a very deflating drop. Like, you saw a lot of people instantly, as soon as you drop, half of the sideline went, and then you just felt it in the crowd, like
whatever you want to call it, luck, mojo, the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. The things that happened last year, the crazy ricochet, the fluke to Ayuk, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Fred's ball, forced fumble against the Cry Girls, rolling on the sideline, literally taking like a right turn out of nowhere. That ball was going out of bounds and would have remained, and it just took a random, happened to not hit a single soul with all those fluke things that seemed to happen last year just seemed to flip the other way around.
Yep.
And so 35,000 feet view. Are you really not that it was BA, but are you really surprised that ball was dropped? I'm not. When you look at it, just those beat yourself moments, everybody, we said it. I think we said it best last week, is that neither team played or at least neither quarterback played the great game.
Yeah.
Neither quarterback played the world's greatest game. You ask me, and it's so weird because I really don't feel like we got our asses kicked per se.
But we did at the same time.
But I feel like we did, but we didn't, kind of weird thing. And
it felt the opposite of Seattle, where Seattle felt like we kicked their ass, but we didn't at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually a great, it really felt like that game should have been a blowout, but basically the kick return, kind of flip that. I feel that how do you sum up the Niners lost the game last week? Patrick Mahomes made the plays when it was necessary. And that to me is indicative of the BA drop is indicative of an inconsistent team, who's not making the plays necessary to win. So to ultimately answer your question, do I believe that's a legit receiving core? Yeah. If that's what we went through moving forward, and you tell me we draft somebody in the second, third round next year, to kind of keep the pressure on, Juwan or Ricky or whoever, Jacob Cowing. Yeah, I could see what the role in
Just
that.
get rid of Ronnie Bell.
Get rid of Ronnie. I mean, look, bro.
How many lives does this man have on this team at this point? Like,
you really
every
want
time
to know
we're
what it is. It's because of how he blocks.
I know.
Because of how he blocks.
I get that. But at the same time, it's like, oh, get rid of Ronnie Bell. This happens. Get rid of Ronnie Bell. Let's get rid of Ronnie Bell. BA gets hurt. Oh, no, we can't get rid of Ronnie Bell.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because Kyle, Brock, everybody's came out and said that pick to Ronnie Bell, where
bullshit.
They said it was like, so thought process here. I'm more concerned if Brock really missed him that bad. That's way more of a concern than Ronnie Bell running the wrong route. Can we agree to that? Like, damn, Brock,
you expect Ronnie Bell to run the wrong route.
Bad? Like that's bad, bro. That's not good, especially for a quarterback who's going to hang his hat on being accurate. That was horrible.
I think what that was Brock threw it to a place where he expected Brandon to be. Brandon is obviously not running. So you run that same route with BA versus Ronnie Bell, BA is in the right spot. I don't believe for a second that's on Brock. I think that is Brock and Kyle pulling all of that criticism off of Ronnie Bell and putting it to where, you're a franchise quarterback, like a good quarterback's always going to say, no, that was my bad. No matter how bad the wide receiver,
he's going to jump on the grenade for his receiver.
Exactly. And I think that is just both of them taking all of that, because they knew as soon as we saw that, everybody's going to jump on Ronnie Bell instantly.
Yep.
And that's them pulling it off of him.
I fully agree with you, Jason. That's basically what I was getting to. Is I think that's Kyle not throwing Brock under the bus, because I don't think he was purposely trying to throw Brock under the bus. I think that's Brock saying, hey, look at me. I'm a quarterback. It's my fault. And Kyle basically saying that Ronnie can Brock can handle it. It's just like how I remember reading this article where it said that Bill Belichick would always coach Tom Brady harder than he would coach
every time. Else. Every single time he would.
And it was because it was to be like, okay, if he coaches Tom Brady that hard, you know what I'm saying? And he's on Tom Brady's ass like that. You feel me?
Yeah. Who am I?
Who am I? A, and B, it was to shelter and everything like that. I fully agree. That's what Kyle was doing right there.
Yeah.
He was
all right. Let's get off of this screen, because I'm tired of looking at injuries.
Yeah, me too. But thank God Michael Parsons out, because the only thing that worries me about this game is when you have a team that got their ass whooped like that. Like, that's one of those games that the coach throws on the tape and he's like, I don't even got to tell you shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't even got to say shit, bro. You
put the tape on and you watch in silence, because you know what's already in that head. It's in their head already.
You might even just burn the tape. Like, everybody knows they play like shit. And especially that you had 2 weeks. 2 weeks to sit on that. 2 weeks to sit on that. Worst loss in your franchise's history. Regardless of, no matter how, like, we all like to say it, it's a rating, not a logo, and everything like that. I mean, this is one of the crown jewels of the NFL, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cry Girls
it's a flagship franchise, for sure.
It's a flagship franchise. At home.
Mollywop twice.
Hey, mollywop. And you got to sit on that for 2 weeks, and play. Like you said, I think it's the same for the Cry Girls. Maybe they got a little bit more craw under their skin about us because, we beat them the last 2 times in the playoffs. I mean, let's be real. They haven't beat us. They have not beat a legit Niner team since, Harbaugh's first year?
Damn, has it been that long? Fuck.
I would think so. The only times they beat Shanahan were in 2017 and 2020.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, it might have been that damn long since they actually.
I would have to go back and look and everything like that, but that was the Tony Homo broken ribs game. Was Harbaugh's first home game as Niner coach. So that's the only thing that scares about me is like, just pride as a professional. You know what I'm saying, Jason? Like, you give such a shitty performance that you're like, damn, bro, I can't, like, my pride as a professional is on the line here. Like,
When I was playing football, we had a coach one time. He was it was the first time in the history of our school we'd started like 0-3. Like, school had been around for like 40 years. We had never started 0-3. He'd been coaching for like, of the 30 years, he'd been coached for like 25 of them. He's like, y'all fucking suck so bad, my wife might leave me. I was like, damn, coach, that would have hurt. Like,
yeah.
We still went out and lost that same game. I still remember that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like if they come out and we just mop the floor with them to the point where like you got to question their professionalism. Like that's not good, bro. That's not good. And like we all know the real issue with the Cry Girls. We all know the issue is Jerry. Yeah. But
I'd love to see this franchise with an owner that wasn't so involved.
And not even that he's involved, just so shitty.
Measuring people's peepees.
And to quote one of Jed's famous quotes, you can't fire owners. So I really generally feel for Cry Girls fans when there's literally nothing you can do. Jerry's never going to sell the team.
No. More egotistical, Jerry Jones, Al Davis. Who do you think is worse?
Oh, that's.
I'm going to say Jerry. I think Al learned at some point to back out.
Well, health forced Al. But see, to me, I'm gonna say Jerry Jones, because obviously the Raiders of the 70s and John Madden and everything like that. But at least Jerry can point to Super Bowls and say, I won those. I put this.
Or was that Jimmy Johnson?
Well, Jimmy Johnson but you can point to the success and say, I've hired the right head coach before. I've hired the right GM before. Things of that nature. You really couldn't say that about Al, at least for since the 70s, or I guess technically the 80s, because they won the championship in 81. So,
because besides the year they won it with Switzer, the Cowboys.
Well, they haven't won since 95.
Yes, but I'm saying besides that Super Bowl with Switzer, they've been a kind of a joke. Now, we can't talk a whole lot because we haven't done much since, but that Switzer team was basically a Jimmy Johnson team.
Yeah, that's basically Jimmy. He was the Harbaugh of that franchise, and everything took over, or George Seifert, took over.
Yeah, he was a Seifert, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, fine, maybe Jerry. I think Al truly did love the Raiders. If this was the Lions, or if this wasn't the NFL and the prestige and the hoopla that becomes with being an NFL owner, and saying, hey, I'm one of only 32 people that own an NFL franchise, I wonder if Jerry would be in it. Like, I always believe Al Davis loved the Raiders. Al Davis loved football. I think Jerry loves being the celebrity. If you could tell Jerry he'd be just as rich and just as famous as doing something else, I bet you he would do it.
Without getting too political, Jerry Jones is Trump. Has he ever done a good job? Probably not. but does he absolutely love that spotlight and being able to say me, 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 me? That's exactly who they are.
That is a perfect analogy, bro. Perfect analogy.
But so, like I said, their coach, Mike McCarthy, yes, he has the Super Bowl with the Packers. But let's be honest, that was also like the 1 year where Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers was actually a positive. It's the 1 year everything went right for Rodgers. Otherwise, all those Packer teams with the McCarthy, they failed over and over and over again.
I would say if you look back beyond the one championship, would you see? It's easy to say we would take Mike McCarthy's time as the Whackers and take that championship.
Mm.
It's very easy for us to say that, but honestly, I step back and I've said this to many Whacker fans over the course of my life. You had probably the greatest duo of back-to-back
25-ish years
next to us, right? And you only got 2 championships. Only 2.
My wife says that it's a travesty that they've only had 2 Super Bowls in that time.
I agree.
And she is a bleeding cheesehead fan. And she hates the fact that out of those 2 guys, they only got two championships in 20 some odd years.
And I do not. I scratch my head at that. Cool. I mean, I would gladly take those 2 championships as a Niner fan right now.
Yeah, but like you said, they had so much talent. Look at the coaches that they had in that time period.
Aaron Rodgers. See, it's hard to say better than Tom Brady or whatever because Tom's obviously got the rings, but regular season wise or anything like that. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, bro.
He's literally everything you want in it. Well, peak Aaron Rodgers is literally almost the perfect quarterback.
Like literally the only quarterback you're taking over peak Aaron Rodgers is Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
No, I don't think. I think at their peak, I think Rodgers was better than both of them.
Okay, yeah, I could make that argument. I still look.
He had a better arm than both. He could scramble better than both. You know what I mean? So like I said, I think overall, and it's just going by his physicality and all that kind of stuff. Peak Aaron Rodgers is the perfect quarterback.
Yeah, there's not much he could do. He was just, to me, Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers are the face of, I don't want to say disappointment, but a lot
mediocrity.
A lot of if onlys.
But we could also say the same thing about like Jeff Garcia.
Oh, I mean,
you know what I mean? So it's the same exact type thing.
Love Jeff. He would go on the wall of 408 and all that. Love Jeff Garcia. But to me, the fact that it was Jeff Garcia's record that Brock broke last year says a lot to me about the quarterbacks we've had after Jeff Garcia more than it says to Jeff Garcia to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
the fact that when you look before last season, you looked in 49ers history and the all-time single season passing leader was Jeff Garcia. That says more to me about Alex, Cap, Tim Rattay, whoever else, than it does
Jim Druckenmiller.
Jeff Garcia.
Still my favorite name of all time. Jim Druckenmiller.
Jim Druckenmiller, baby. But yeah, so I really don't think Mike McCarthy's that good of a coach, bro. I really don't.
I think he would have benefited from being more like an offensive coordinator longer in his career.
He's our offensive coordinator.
I know. I'm saying, like I think he's one of those guys. Like I said, not everybody's built to be a head coach.
Yep.
Sometimes you just got to be the sergeant. And there's nothing wrong. Look at Steve Spagnuolo. He is a great DC. Probably going to go down at this point as one of the greatest just DCs. His head coaching jobs, not all that great. But he will be remembered as one of the greatest DCs in NFL history. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you told me that I could just be
like, if Kyle gets outcoached by Mike Zimmer, we got some serious.
He's not coaching. Mike Zimmer is not play calling. The play caller is Mike McCarthy.
Okay.
So Mike Zimmer's basically what Josh McDaniels was. Or not Josh McDaniels.
Mike McDaniels.
Mike McDaniels.
Yeah.
He's got the title, but he's not actually calling plays.
That's to basically keep him from somebody else stealing. Brian Schottenheimer.
Mid.
Yeah. Like
other coaches are mid.
This is one of those games, excluding, Schneider, just because I'm sorry.
Actually, we had that backwards. It's actually Schottenheimer that's the OC.
Yeah.
Zimmer's
that's why I was a little confused, bro. But
that's my bad.
This is the point where it's like, look, excluding Nick Sorensen and Schneider, just because Sorensen first year D coordinator. I'm still jury's still out, and I'm not all for. I don't think our special teams are necessarily all the coach's fault, because it's always been an issue, and his reputation. But I'm not going to say he has no hand in it, if that makes sense. But if this coaching, like the Niners coaching staff, just from the whole perspective, should walk circles around this coaching staff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%. All right, let's get off these guys.
Yeah.
All right, this offense, to quote Charles Barkley, terrible. Don't let the third in passing yards per game, fool you. Because all this offense is right now is Dak drop back, find CeeDee Lamb, and how deep can you hit him? That's pretty much this entire offense right now. Look at the rushing yards per game. 32nd in the league. Can't get more worse than that. Only 77 yards a game on the ground. So, yeah, this offense doesn't go anywhere. And, again, total yards per game, 336 is middle of the pack, only because CeeDee Lamb is fucking amazing. And he can make, just like I said, this whole offense is based on how many times can we get to CD and how far down the field can CD get down. That's it. Other than that, they have no offense.
I'm relying on, like, to me, this is just about pride than the Cry Girl offense scaring me in itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just, do I think Dak deserved? Dak to me didn't deserve what did he get? 60 mil a year?
Something like that.
In an ideal world, Dak Prescott's not a $60 million quarterback.
No, he's a mid-tier quarterback.
As we discussed last week with Brock, that's just what a starting quarterback is going to cost you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, but he's still a good quarterback. So to me, this game mostly boils down to anything that the girls are going to do is which Niners show up. Niners from week one, Niners from our wins, or Niners from our losses. That's
it's going to be a lot like the Minnesota game. Can we stop CeeDee Lamb? Because he's going to get his plays, obviously. That he's that good of a player. Probably the second or third best receiver in the league, depending on your personal rankings. I'd probably put him at 3. But that's just me.
Well, you got
and then, like I said,
Jefferson, Devontae.
Yeah.
See, but tell me this. CeeDee Lamb or Devontae are both available to you. Which one are you taking?
Well, you take CD, but he's also younger.
Okay.
He's younger.
Okay.
So, like I said, it's a personal preference. It's basically I'm not, like I said, I think it's
For
Justin
1 year,
Jefferson
I
as
take
far.
Devontae. For the future, you take CD.
Yeah. I just think Justin Jefferson is easily number one.
Yeah, he's number one.
Number 2 and 3, you could argue who's the second and third best, and you're probably not wrong either way.
Yeah.
And their top running back is a guy named Rico. That's exactly. Rico. Dole. And then there's Zeke somewhere hoping that he never has to take a snap with Dre Greenlaw on his face again.
That shit was so embarrassing, bro.
I'm not even I can't even make fun of Zeke on that one. I'm gonna make fun of whoever drew that shit up. Like, what is Zeke supposed to do in that situation?
You know, Jason, I've always said this about Kyle and why I think Kyle is a better head coach, or at least a better play caller, offensive, play designer than Harbaugh. As I always point to, I believe Kyle will come up with something, Super Bowl on the line, season on the line. I believe Kyle will dial up something, better than simply 3 fade routes to crapshoot.
Yeah. Or having your starting.
I mean, I'm just saying, bro. Like, what the fuck? Your season's on the line.
And this is the magic that you want.
This is the best you got.
Like, how high were you guys when you drew this play up? Because I've seen this play drawn up in high schools. Like this is something you pull up in high school, and it doesn't work in high school.
I would have immediately fired Steve Wilkes.
I'd have fired everybody if that shit worked.
Immediately. That could never work, and you keep your job, because that was the worst. And see, this is what I come back to, and where I thought we had an advantage, but if you listen to Tuesday's show, Jason and I are starting to see some cracks in the armor, is even how they handled that final play when we were in Dallas, which legitly, if they would have been able to get a playoff, they could have possibly won that game.
Not with that play.
No, I'm talking about the win in Dallas, where they ran out of time.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They could have won that game.
They had 2 more seconds.
2 more seconds. And it's why I always thought Pete Carroll was overrated. It's why I think this coaching staff's overrated. Because let's be real, the whole Marshawn Lynch, and it was gonna be beast mode, and they were gonna fucking throw Skittles and all that shit, cost them the division in 2019.
Yeah. And a Super Bowl, to be honest.
And a Super Bowl. But that directly because Marshawn didn't bring his helmet on. You know what I'm saying? And they got the delay of the game, which backed him up, and we all know the story. Like, yeah, I put that on Marshawn. Like, bro, you're a vet. Like, fucking come on the field with your helmet, my nigga. Like, what the fuck?
It's like, come on, dude.
Like, come on, bro. But even then, like, I'm going to the coaches at that point. You know what I'm saying? And
hey, Marshawn, get your goddamn helmet on.
Yeah, or just like, like shit like that frustrates me because it's unprofessional, bruh. And at the very least, you could have whatever issues you want with Kyle. They're all legit. But I promise you, our fucking running back's going to come on the field with his helmet.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to get a fucking playoff with 2 seconds left, season on the line. We're going to come up with better than our running back's going to snap the ball to our quarterback and somehow we're going to razzle-dazzle our way down the fucking field.
Oh, wait, we can't because he got blown up by Joey Green. Like, yeah, to this day, I feel sorry for Zeke on that play because it's like, dude, the fuck was he supposed to do?
And then I think Jimmy Ward, did you see, I forget who caught the ball, but actually one of Jimmy Ward's final great plays as a Niner. I think if you go back and he laid whoever the fuck was that caught the ball, that final play, he laid him the fuck out. The reason I think he laid him the fuck out is I think that defense took that personal. Like
what is almost like you're fucking pulling with us.
Yeah, like respect me more than this, bro. Like respect me enough to come up with a legit play. Like you're gonna run this bullshit and think it's gonna work. I'm taking that as an insult to my professionalism.
which they probably did. Like what?
They
Why?
probably. That's what I'm saying.
You're bringing this bullshit to me?
Fucking no, not in my house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because Jimmy
R.I.P.
fucking
to
laid him out.
Yeah.
But
all right, so their defense also not very good. I mean, obviously there's going to be worse with some of the guys that they've got out with. I mean, they still got some big names. Trayvon Diggs, probably 3 or 4 years past being good. Eric Kendricks, I still think is a pretty good a pretty good linebacker. I would have been
Devontae Campbell.
I still think Eric Kendricks changed his mind, and we panicked and we went, Devontae Campbell. Yeah. I honestly feel that's yeah, like this is okay, get this guy. Does he fit our system? No, but we need somebody. What, can we look at somebody else? No, we need somebody now. I still believe that is what Eric Kendricks did to this fucking team or to the staff. He fucking changed his mind at fucking 11:59. I don't blame him, to be quite honest with you, because he's got a lot more money and everything, and an actual starting position for as long as he wants it, probably. And then this fucking coaching staff and everyone. Okay, just get this guy that doesn't fit our system at all. Chauncey Golston, he'll plug up the middle. We got a fairy in the house. What's up, Tommy? And yes, the Rams did look good
last
time. What's
up, Fairy?
I got to admit that now that they're starting to get healthy, it's starting to it's like, oh, wait a minute. There's a reason. Maybe there's a reason why we're the fucking last place team in the NFC West. And then obviously my man that I'd been pounding for, trying to get, wanted us to draft, Maurice Leofau, having a pretty good solid season so far. We should be able to move the ball with some decently well against this defense.
Like, the only thing that worries me about this defense is
I don't even think that doesn't even bother me.
But if Kyle okay, you're without you're essentially without our top 3 receivers, or 2 of our top 3 receivers. But to me, I'm looking and I hate to say this, bro, because I know this is a lot and there's a lot of pressure on him and everything like that. But yeah, Rook, I'm gonna kind of need you on this one. I'm kind of looking at Ricky like, yeah, Kittle Corn, the hat trick last year and basically our only red zone threat all fucking year and everything like that. But I'm looking at Ricky. This is the type of game where I can see him shining. And I know it's a lot, only second game in the NFL and everything like that. But this is one that I'm gonna need Ricky to step up, or Jacob Cowing.
I think it's got to be anybody but Debo. And that's not to say that Debo won't have a good game, but it's got to be somebody named Ayuk or someone named Kittle, Cowing, or Pearsall. It's got to be somebody but Debo.
Shit, I'll take JP Mason coming out of the backfield. What's cracking?
See, rushing yards against them. They're 25th in the league, giving up 143. If Mason doesn't get at least 100 yards in this game, we have got big ass problems.
Yeah, because this has got to be the game that I haven't done any of my pregame show stuff yet. I'm gonna get rocking and rolling after we come back from recycling tomorrow on that, but I'm not confident in like 42-10. I just, show me that you can put up 30 consistently. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Before I believe you can put up 42. But this has definitely got that type of 24-10, 24-13 type of ball game where it's like, bro, the score wasn't even close. And the Niners had the ball for like 40 minutes. We ran the ball 45 times.
I'd love to see I'd love to see 45 carries between Isaac and JP.
I think you're gonna have to do it, just simply because the only way they have a chance in this game is if we blow it offensively. Because Dak and CD
the two of them are that good.
If given enough opportunities. Yeah, they can beat you if given enough opportunities. A late fourth quarter touchdown, those type of shit can happen. So if I'm the Niners, I simply just tell them, you're not touching the ball. So cool, if you want to try to score 24, 27 points on 3 or 4 possessions, not that they'll only get, 3 or 4 possessions, but still, I'm not giving the Cry Girls 13 possessions, to try to beat us and everything like that. I'm simply, if each team has 8 possessions in this game, I don't see, if each team only has 8 possessions in this game, I don't want to think about the type of lack of offensive production the Niners would have to have in order to lose that game.
Sorry, man.
Like, I don't want to think about that, Jason. That gives me nightmares. That we held on the ball so long that they only had 8 possessions and we still lose the game. I don't want to think about that, bro.
Sorry, my boss is texting me real quick. So let's go ahead. I'll go and move to the next one.
All good. But
so here is the fantasy, what it looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like it just gets lower and lower for the Cowboy stuff. And you get down here for the number 2 wide receivers, all the way down to 3 points a game.
Whew.
No.
That's not good, bro. I mean, when our rookie... Okay, I was about to say he has almost as many points as anybody else that they're having to expect, but he doesn't. But still, like, a man in his second NFL game is expected to get 7.9. Like, and he would be number...
Yeah. And then Cowing was at 6 points, just a little bit under Ricky. So I mean, we've still got more people before we get to Jalen down here at 3 points. All right.
Yeah.
So then we go to betting. So this was as of this morning before I went to work. The Niners are favored to by 4. We got Tommy up here. What's Tommy saying? I don't like to wish injury, but I wish Brendo would have. Brendo's not even doing anything. He's just at home chilling right now. Like, I don't understand why are we waiting to bring Brendo back one way or the other? Like, instead of signing Dietrich Eelson, why didn't we just bring Feliciano back? Unless we're just waiting because of that spot on for the call-ups. So I don't understand what's
must be a waiting after the bye type of situation. We'll reevaluate everything after the bye.
Like I said, as bad as Brendo's playing, dude, just bring him in now. Hell, fuck. Do something with Nick Sakel. Anybody but Brendo. And you know what I hate to say is that Brendo's been playing better, but you still see every 3 or 4 plays, he gets pushed back 4 or 5 steps back into the. Well, I know what I'm saying. It's like
the man has
look
no
at his
knees,
PFF
Jason.
scores. Everything's getting better every week. So on one hand, you're like, hey, maybe by the end of the year he'll be serviceable. Like, but we can't wait until the end of the year for him to be serviceable.
This is one of those things where, Daniel Brunskill, I think, because, you hear Chris Forrester talk, and he always talks about how we feel we can get linemen in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. We can sign them off the scrap heap and everything. And then we wonder why our offensive line is garbage every year. Like, are you surprised that Jake Brendel had it's been long enough that you could say he had a flash in the pan season? Like, I'm not at this point. I'm not mad at Jake Brendel because he's proven to us what he is. We just refuse to listen. Can't blame the man. I keep on signing that contract if you want to lay. I've proven to you that I'm not a championship caliber center. But you keep on offering me that contract, I'm going to keep on signing. We cannot be mad at Jake Brendel this time. This is clearly, let's be real. It's Kyle, Chris Forrester, and the front office's fault at this point. There's just nobody better that we could have gotten. Just nobody. You know, what's it going to take for Brock to be killed? You know, do we need to see another quarterback carted off the field with his career ruined? Fucking A. Niners, man, we better fucking cover 4 points.
Yeah,
Bro, we better beat them by at least 4 points. Like no. This game at worst should be.
No, I'm not. I don't think Forster
a
has
7-point
actually said that Brendo
win.
is playing good football. I'm just saying that if you look at the PFF scores again, y'all guys know about PFF. Take it as a tool, but it's not the Bible. But if you look at Brendo's PFF scores, they've gone up every single week. Just again, take that as it is, and with a huge, big old grain of salt. He's trending upward. Not saying he's playing good, but every week he's gotten better. And again, it's just such a low bar. Like, okay, you got better, but that bar was so low. How much better are you actually getting when it's that low of a bar? You know what I mean? Oh, he did say okay. I haven't seen that. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I think
All right. So some of the betting stuff. We got Mason, 75 yards. Yes, like I said, I would almost put 100 on it, honestly. So, Brock 250. You think he'll reach 250 with his passing?
I'm real nervous about that, Jay, because I think he's gonna be right about that. Like, could I see 240 because we run the ball 40 times this game? Yeah. Could I see 260? You know, I mean, what's his average this year? I'll look it up right now. Fuck. The ESPN NFL. Brock is averaging.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the presser today.
Stats. Here we go. Brock's averaging a game. Yards per game. 263. So yeah, I would think that. I wouldn't feel safe. I wouldn't bet my rent money on it. But because, like I said, I think he's gonna be about that. You know, I could see him throwing for 249
passing yards.
Or wait, is it passing yards or net passing yards?
All right, and then the last one I felt comfortable with was Kittle, and 57.5 yards receiving.
Yeah, because if Kittle has less than that, where's Brock getting his 250 yards receiving from?
Ricky Pearsall.
Or his 250 yards passing from?
And the rest of it comes from Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowie. If that's how it ended up, dude, I'd be fucking stoked if that's how we won. If that's the amount of yards those two guys picked up.
Like Kittle has 58, and then Jacob Cowing and Ricky basically
I'd be stoked if that's what it was.
That takes him 258. I'd be fucking juiced, bro. I'd be juiced. You like the over under?
Or excuse me, the under. I'm sorry, I was looking at the spread.
Yeah, I just like I said, I don't like show me you could score 28 fucking consistently. Shit, before I start to think that you could, and yeah, bro. It's just I'm not taking the over. You're talking about each team basically scoring 24 points. We give up 24 points to the Cry Girls, we got fucking issues. If we only score 24 points against them, we got fucking issues.
And then for the last one of the night, we've got some of the big time Cowboy fans. Obviously LeBron. Yeah, I mean it's
know all
again,
this.
it's a flagship franchise. It shouldn't come as a surprise to you who their fans are. We all know who they are. I'm still surprised that LeBron is not a Browns fan. It says a lot about the Browns when the hometown guy is not even a fan of your own damn team. And he is a proud Cleveland person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like no, he definitely is. Well,
Yeah,
let's be real.
true.
That's growing up in the '90s, bro. That's what that is. That's growing up with the Browns. When you know what, would it not be surprised? It would be surprised if he was a Browns fan, and then when they finally moved out of Cleveland, you know how they shut down for those couple of years when they became the
Could be.
Raven, and he just said, "Fuck it, I'm done with him." I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happened. Because that's roughly around the same time. Cry Girls are winning championships, or at least, the team of the decade at that point. Browns leave Cleveland, break the city of Cleveland's heart. I could see that happening. I have not heard that, so I cannot confirm that. But that would not be surprised if he was a Browns fan and the Browns left. Because they were gone for about a good 3 years. So he just became a Cry Girls fan in those 3 years.
The Browns back, though,
but yeah, LeBron is
or is it one of those things, you've already broken my heart once, fuck you?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Browns, let me ask
I don't know. Like,
Deshaun Watson's not a good person. Can we agree with that?
Yeah, I got some questions, bro. Like, if it looks like a rat, smells like a rat,
so
it might be a rat,
So, okay, so Deshaun Watson gets injured Sunday. Your thoughts on him being booed out of the stadium by his own team? Me personally, knowing the kind of shit that he's done, I boo the fuck out of that man. Fuck him. I don't give a fuck. But then there's people saying, why would you ever boo or cheer for someone getting injured? Well, if there's ever anybody, he's literally the only person that I can think of in the NFL that I am actually cheering that got hurt. Call me what you want. I don't give a shit, but I am booing the fuck out of him.
You know what? When you're a Browns fan, you've been just surrounded by so much garbage your life.
For an injured player going out in the
and were they booing the fact that he got injured? No. What were they booing? They were booing the fact that it's been a joke of a fucking deal.
If they move on from him now over the next 2 years, they still have to pay him no matter what. If they just said, don't show up ever again, we're done with you, he still makes $150 million over the next 2 years. No matter, the man could, I don't even think they could get out of that contract if he live murdered somebody. That's how solid clad that contract is.
Look, not taking it too far down that rabbit hole, and everything like that. But we know what the man's accused of, bruh. And I'm not necessarily a believe all women type of guy.
Yeah.
You feel me? I've seen some situations that got some homies in some. I had people showing up to my tent one day. Luckily, I wasn't there, but I had people showing up at my tent until the homegirl had to correct him about a situation that didn't happen. And the bitch was a tweaker. Anyway, I had been up too far too long. But I've always said this. When you have multiple, isn't it like at this point hundreds of women? Like, come on, bruh. Hundreds of women. And to my thing about this is more on Deshaun's people. Like, not trying to get down this rabbit hole, but I keep on saying that. Yeah, I'm going farther down. I always say this, regardless of whether you believe or not. I've never been mad at Michael. I've always been mad at Michael's people because of Michael Jackson. Because if I'm Michael Jackson's people, I tell him, Michael, you're rich, powerful, famous, and black. You do not need to have these little boys staying in your bed. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to just somebody. I'm going to remove this from your situation. If you're Deshaun's people, you know what I'm saying? Hey, bro, you know what? Well, we're going to have the team facility handle, So I'm not 1,000% believer in karma, but that shit definitely you made a strong case for karma on that one, bro. There's definitely a strong case for
Yeah, as far
karma
as I'm
being
concerned,
real
I
with
boom,
what
fuck
happened
him.
to Sean on Sunday.
Fuck,
I didn't
fuck
see
Sean Watson.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, and let's be real, if you're a season ticket holder for the Cleveland Browns, I mean, think about that, Jason. I'm a season ticket holder for the
I got
Cleveland
respect for that.
Browns. I'm fucking doing more than booing, bruh. Okay, like trust me, if the Niners turn, if I'm me, a season ticket holder, you're talking about a 49ers season ticket holder right here. If the Niners turn into that, they're lucky if the worst I ever do at that stadium is boo them. Like at that point, like fuck. You literally would be more worth it to just grab your money and burn it, because at least you would be able to stay warm. Like,
but that's all, folks. You got anything else, TJ?
no, okay, I'm gonna play it now. I feel way better now. I feel way better now. All right, y'all gonna have to humor me. Hey, for these sorry fucks. Bro, I was thinking that all fucking last year, bro. Anyway, yeah, I used to play that song for my cousin because we grew up listening to a lot of our moms.
I should
Listened to a
play it
lot
for
of
some of
country.
my friends.
That's how I know that song.
I've been talking
So
quite a bit of shit on
for,
Facebook to a couple of friends who are pretty big Cowboys fans this week.
Yeah, it happens. No, that's it, brother. Look, get the dub. We should get the dub. Of course, I'm gonna celebrate Niner. Because we beat the Cry Girls as many times as that franchise has broken this franchise's heart. I'm never gonna know. But this is a definitely you should. Now, we always say hardest thing in sports to do is what you should. So, because if we don't, it's going to be a really rough Tuesday, Jason.
Yeah,
It's going to be
a long bye week.
It's going to be a really rough Tuesday show, bro. All right, brother. We'll catch you on the flip.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
Yep. Hold on, I gotta take myself. Come on, T. Take yourself off. There you go.
Get out. All right, everybody. Thank you, TJ, for showing up as usual for the Niner Faithful Radio Week in Review show. Don't forget, Jamie will be here tomorrow. She'll be going over both pressers from Tuesday and Saturday's press and today's and every other day's coverage. She'll be covering the pressers. And then Monday, TJ will be on probably about 9 o'clock or so with the pregame. I will be live 2 minutes before halftime with the halftime show. And then I'm not sure what Jamie's schedule is, but she will be doing the post-game show at some point on Sunday after the game. All right, everybody. Again, thank you so much for showing up to the NinerFaithful Radio Week in Review show. And Fa Fitai Te Lava. One love, chat.